Welcome to Strip Talking, a podcast from stripwalking.com.
God, this podcast sucks.
So do you know what the pirate's favorite letter is?
R.
They really love the C.
Shut the fuck up.
Never dealt with a stick that long.
Wouldn't the two circles represent tits?
Geoff is not, and I'm speaking myself in third person, I am not technologically advanced at all.
Did you have a fear boner?
It was probably the biggest fear boner I've had in quite some time.
Did you just say fear boner and your mom's gonna listen to this?
Here are your hosts, Geoff with a G and Mike with a...
Welcome to Strip Talking. Geoff with a G is unavailable today, so you've got Mike with a and we've got a special guest. His name is Jay with a J.
That's correct. I do pronounce and spell the J part of my name correctly.
And you know, I was thinking I give Geoff a lot of credit for teaching me craps and starting me on craps. But
right. Let's be honest.
really, you were kind of first, weren't you?
Well, I don't want to say first, but that's correct. That's the right way to say it. Yes. Yeah. It's been a lot of years ago, but I accept that honor.
We will take the trophy from Geoff and we will give it to you.
That's fine. I have a shelf ready to display it. No, thank you for having me though. If the listeners think that Geoff sounds better looking, it's true. It's not Geoff, it's me. I hope to bring some class and sophistication to the podcast that I think it's been missing up to this point, and very happy to be here. Hi, Mike's mom and Geoff's mom. I don't really know Geoff's mom. I'm sure I've met her, although I don't know where I would have.
Do you know my mom?
Well, yeah, I know your mom.
Everybody knows my mom. Wait, that didn't sound good either.
I haven't talked. Good point. I haven't talked to your mom in probably 20 years, but she loves me.
I haven't either. I haven't talked to her in 20 years, according to her.
Your mom's the best. Your mom's the best.
She is. And I don't talk to her enough. I should call her. Maybe I'll call her right now.
Yeah, you should. I should call her. That would be very surprising to her.
It would be.
Hey, it's Jay.
She would appreciate that.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe some night.
Yeah.
Some night we will do that. No, but again, thank you for having me. I'm a religious listener. Yes, I'm the one person that is. But...
So you're the guy that fell asleep and just kind of woke up and it had auto played.
That's right. Looped it all the way through.
Jay, like me, is a fellow techie, so
it's true.
It's nice to have a techie on the podcast instead of somebody like Geoff.
Another upgrade from Geoff. Yeah.
Yes. So far, it's all upgrades.
Yeah. Interesting.
And you are also a big craps player and a big Vegas lover. Yes. When we needed somebody to fill in for Geoff, it was just natural. We gave you a call.
That's it. I appreciate that call very much. Yeah. Been to Vegas many times. Most recently, just this last summer, took the kids.
So Jay, a couple episodes ago, we went through a list of Vegas questions that we
I remember them.
Ask people. We thought maybe we'd go through those with you, since you're a big Vegas guy too. Maybe get your thoughts on some of those questions.
I think that's a great idea. A get to know the guest.
So tell us about your first Vegas experience.
First Vegas experience, probably, I don't know, 03, 04, somewhere in there, probably early 2000s. Stayed at the Excalibur, Dirty Castle.
Yes.
It was a lot nicer back then.
It was.
Nicer. Just my wife and I on that trip. We were rookies for sure, tourists, did all the touristy stuff, but it was good. Very memorable. Went to the Hoover Dam, Excalibur. That was my first.
Did you gamble back then?
Took my virginity.
What about virginity?
The Excalibur took my Vegas virginity. Yep.
Oh, Vegas virginity. Okay.
I did play craps back then, yeah, and my wife did as well. It was nice. That was way before any kind of video, bubble craps or anything like that. It was all pure tables, but yeah, we played at the Excalibur quite a bit.
Probably $5 tables back then.
Yep. $5 tables. Very difficult to find nowadays.
Nearly impossible on the Strip.
Agreed. Which we'll get to in later questions, I'm quite sure.
Will we now?
Well, yes.
Are you saying you have pre-prepared answers for these questions?
I'm a religious listener. How could I not have answers to these questions of my own?
We appreciate your support.
You're welcome.
So obviously your game of choice is probably slots.
No, it would be craps. Although, game of choice does vary for me, depending on the bankroll, to be honest. Craps, if I got the bankroll going, you can't beat the excitement of craps if you walk into a casino and tone out all the slot machine noises. Yeah, the loudest part of the casino, the most exciting part of the casino will be the craps table every time, and you just can't beat that. You can't beat it. That's what you're paying for.
Do you play slots?
Only if I am completely out of money and trying to kill time before my airplane leaves.
Well, how do you play slots if you're out of money?
Well, you can play pretty cheap. You can find some penny slots and act like you're playing. Press the button very rarely. You can stretch out a $10 bill quite a way.
Trying to get comp drinks.
Correct. Also difficult these days in Vegas.
No shit.
My last trip to Vegas was this past summer. Stayed at the Sahara. We'll talk about that. Crab fries. And
Yes.
I got one free drink the entire week that I was there. It was a good beer at least, but one.
Seriously?
Yeah, one. I was not happy with the Sahara. I was not impressed with the Sahara Casino, but that's not why we were there. We took the kids this last time.
I mean, it's infinity rewards, so the drink should be infinite, right?
Correct. Which is dangerous for me, and they should know that.
Seems like one drink's kind of finite, though.
Very much so.
They do have that camel there, though. I do like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
By the rewards desk.
Yeah. I got a picture by the camel, actually. Find that. Yep. How old do you think that that camel is older than we are? It has to be.
You think?
Yeah, has to be. As dusty as it was. Yeah.
Well, that's just the Sahara.
That's the Sahara, right? It's in a desert. Of course, it's going to be dusty. But anyway, we weren't on this trip to gamble. I still did, but we took the kids and did touristy stuff again. So it was all right. The Dusty Camel.
The Dusty. That'd be a good name for it. The Dusty Camel.
It really would. It really would.
Like a bar or something.
Yeah, just right inside the Sahara. You have to walk under the camel to get there.
Well, if we're going to talk about the Sahara, let's talk about it. So did you,
Okay.
You had the crab fries, right?
I had the crab fries. Yeah, I got to have the crab fries.
They're awesome, aren't they?
Yes, highly recommend. We didn't eat anywhere else in the Sahara of note, I guess, but
you didn't hit Bizarre Meat?
No, I saw it. I looked in there, looked at the menu and stuff, and I think it would be very good to go, but we did not.
Probably better when it's just you and the wife, so it's not so expensive.
Correct. But yeah, we didn't actually spend a lot of time on property. It's a monorail stop. It's the end of the monorail line right there, so we went all over the place from there. Yeah, it really was, especially with kids. I mean, that's the first real monorail trip we had taken and used it heavily, but it was super handy. Worked great.
So you're not normally a monorail person in Vegas?
I never had been, I guess, and I think something we should talk about. If you take a kid trip with the kids, just expect a very different Vegas experience from what you're used to or what I'm used to. So we did a lot more riding around. Let's go here, let's go there. I think normal Vegas trips, I'm more of a stay on resort sort of guy. Find a table, stay there, hopefully for as long as possible. But with kids, it's just different.
Yeah. What else did you hit up with them? High roller?
High roller, of course. Yeah, they love that, which is great. I do recommend that. Second time
it is.
I've rode it, actually. We went to O. My kids are both in, the theater department in school. So that's kind of the thing. We wanted to go to a live, big show, produced show, and pick that one. That's the second time we've seen that one too, but it's amazing. Amazing show. Went downtown one night with them. That was maybe a little more than they were ready for.
Wow, you took them downtown?
A little more than they were ready for, but it was super fun. And then just a lot of, let's go see all the big famous casinos, hit all the big ones.
Did you do Excalibur?
Yep. Went over there, went to Excalibur, Luxor, Mandalay Bay, New York, Caesars, MGM, all the big ones.
Tournament of Kings?
Nope, we did not do that. That would have been cool though.
Your girls love Tournament of Kings. Yeah.
The very first Vegas trip we took that I was talking about earlier, that We did that, just my wife and I. Yeah, it's pretty memorable. It sounds cheesy
It
and
is cheesy, but it's still
yeah,
good.
but it's so fun.
I think I've been there 3 or 4 times now.
Nice.
Medieval times, it's the
Right.
same thing.
It's
They're all,
exactly the same.
yeah, but it's a
Yeah.
good time.
It really is.
It's fairly cheap.
Yeah, it was. I didn't look this trip, but back then, very reasonable, especially when we stayed there. You get coupons or whatever.
We went also to that. Have you been to that flyover Vegas thing? That it's almost
The
like
zip line?
well, it is like it's a Disney ride.
Oh, no.
It's they're kind of by MGM Grand.
Okay.
So there's a ride called Soarin'. It's like a big curved theater, kind of like an IMAX, only better.
Oh,
And then the seats that you're sitting in are like suspended and they move.
okay.
The screen kind of goes all around you. So it goes
Sweet.
even back behind you.
Right.
And that in combination with the moving of the seats makes it feel like you're flying.
I bet. That's awesome.
Basically, that same ride is now in Vegas.
Gotcha.
It's pretty cool. It's worth experiencing.
No, I didn't even know that was there. I hadn't seen it. We did do the zip line downtown.
I have not done a zip line yet, and I really need to, don't I?
Yeah, we've done it twice. There's like a short one and a long one. The long one, earlier trip before COVID. We'll talk about that later too. But
You were there when we were there right before COVID, weren't you?
that's right. Yeah, that was that trip when, like, literally the week before they shut Vegas down.
Yep.
Like to the point where we were unclear if we were getting out of town, sort of deal. And that's what happens when me and you are in Vegas at the same time. We just shut the city down.
Good times. So, next question would be your biggest win and your biggest loss. If you can say your biggest loss.
Yeah, I will. And it's not that impressive. And neither is my biggest win, though. And
Ours aren't either.
yeah, my biggest gambling win was not in Vegas, though. It was in Kansas City,
Really?
actually. Yep, we went down for a Chiefs game. Go Chiefs. And you're going to make fun of me.
Boo.
You're going to make fun of me, but it was on a slot machine. I was out of money.
So Geoff is the one who never plays slots. I'll play
Yeah,
slots every once in
sure.
a while.
They're fun, mindless.
So that's what I tell Geoff. Every once in a while,
Yeah.
when the craps aren't working, I feel like I'm working so hard to figure out what I need to do to make money on the craps. I just want to go and sit and just push the button.
Exactly. Not even think about it.
Yeah.
Just watch the lights buzz for a while. Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
I can lose money that way too. It's much less taxing on my brain.
Yep, that's right. But it was in Kansas City slot machine. It was like 5,700 or something like that.
Wow.
And it wasn't even
nice.
wasn't even a progressive or anything, but just hit it.
Which machine?
Well, I knew you were going to ask me that, and that's an interesting story because I was so intoxicated that night that I honestly do not recall. I barely remember it. I remember the attendant coming.
You had a $5,700 head pay. You barely remember it.
I remember the attendant coming over, took my ID, had to go fill out the W-2G form or whatever the tax thing is.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it seemed like 30, 40 minutes. I'm sure it was like 17 seconds that I had stood there waiting, but it seemed like forever, to the point where I'm like, should I push the button again? Should I find someone? I literally had no idea what was going on, but he eventually came back after what I'm sure was not much time at all, handed me a bunch of hundreds, and then apparently I was buying drinks for lots of people in the casino. How I did not get shanked that night, I have no idea. And I think the Chiefs were even playing the Raiders, which kind of brings a shankier crowd to town, if you know what I mean. I should have been mugged that night. Yeah.
Was this before they were Las Vegas or after?
This was before. Yeah. Still
much
out.
Classier now that they're Vegas, though, right?
That is correct. Absolutely. But that was my biggest one. Yeah.
Was it at the Hollywood Casino or Airstar? Do you remember that at all? Over by the
Not
Speedway.
exactly. Over by the Speedway, yes.
Yeah, that's the Hollywood one, I think.
That's the Hollywood. Okay. Yeah. Then that's what it was. Yeah.
What do you usually play for slots? Do you care?
I don't care. No, whichever one looks cool. And like it would be fancy if, you hit
Bonus.
the bonus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let me tell you about a little slot called Dragon Link.
I've heard you talk about this.
Next time you get a chance, you play Dragon Link. You tell me how it goes.
I will do that. I am just not specifically particular on my slot machines. No. And we went to the casino the next morning for a little bit before we left to try to find that machine. I couldn't find it. I have no idea where it was in the casino.
So you were by yourself?
I was with my brother-in-law, but he was over on the 3-card table, I think. Because I remember running over to him and flashing all the hundreds. Like, dude, we won.
So there really is just no record of what happened
There's
other
not.
than the money.
I think potentially the casino like remodeled overnight after I won, or I was in some sort of alternate universe that day, but I couldn't even figure out what part of the casino it was in.
Did the tax form even get filed?
I'm not allowed to comment on that.
Yeah, probably better not say.
That was my biggest win.
That's a pretty good hit, though. I mean, my biggest is far less than that, just barely over 1,500.
Still nothing to sneeze at.
It was early in the trip too. It's nice to get ahead and then just kind of slowly bleed out the rest of the trip.
Kind of coasted out. Yeah, exactly. Which leads me to my biggest loss, I suppose. I play more like Geoff in that respect. I tend to cut my losses. Maybe if I get if I'm at a table and I'm down 50% of maybe what I started with, I'll walk away for sure. So I don't end up having big losses.
That's commendable for both of you. But
thank you.
I'm always sure that the luck is going to turn around until I'm out of money. So
yeah,
I can't leave with any money.
Walking away at that point, it's also important to walk away if you get up 50 or 100%. But
I can do that. I can do that.
Good. That's some would argue more important, maybe.
Yes, that's true. But every time I try and cut my losses, I'll walk away from a table and everyone will just be yelling and cheering all of a sudden. It's just every time.
Yep.
Gotta run it out.
That's the risk.
So this will be interesting because I don't really have any idea with you. What's your favorite strip property?
Good question. Geoff will kill me, but I'm the new and improved Geoff, right? But
you are, as of right now.
I like, Jeff's gonna hate me, but I like Caesars.
I don't hate it either. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate it.
Every time we go, I find myself ending up there at some point during the trip. They have their sports book. If you do horse racing stuff, it's wonderful. The best on the strip, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll say that. Top 5.
Of course you do horse racing stuff.
Yeah. Ooh, that leads to a good Vegas story.
Let's hear it.
I've only stayed at Caesars once. It was very nice. And we get to town, lots of us. I'm kind of tired of being around people. Middle of the afternoon, get to the casino finally, unload baggage, all the hustle and bustle of going to Vegas and getting there. Finally there. So I head straight down to the horse racing. I was just ready to play. It was like 2 minutes to post on for some track that was on the TVs, and looked up at the TV. One of the horses, not a super favorite, but not the end of the pack, either middle of the pack. The week before, there was a gal at work who had passed away, and it was super sad. She had 5 kids, all of them boys, 5 sons. I look up at the TV, and there's a horse named 5 Sons. I put $20 to win on it. The race starts, middle of the pack, all the way around. Fights his way up to second. He was a fighter. Fights the way up to second. Clearly not going to win, though. I lost my first bet in Vegas that trip. Until maybe 20 yards before the finish line, the first place horse biffs it. Rolls the jockey flying. Yeah, the first place horse just goes down. And 5 Sons coasts on in for the win, baby. That feeling at that moment in my heart is how people get addicted to gambling.
That is amazing.
the pure rush of emotion and adrenaline and goodness, it's like better than anything.
It's like so on ESPN they do the bad beats. It's the opposite of that. It's a good beat.
I think this coworker, rest in peace, was watching from above.
She killed that horse for you.
I don't know. I don't know if the horse is okay. Don't care. The jockey went flying. He has to be hurt. But
I think if the horse falls, he's pretty much going to be killed.
yeah, definitely.
So that horse sacrificed his life so you could win that bet.
Man, it's so worth it. So worth it.
That is a magical story. I bet you were going crazy, though. I do believe
goodness.
that.
That is how people get addicted to gambling. That sensation, that feeling in that moment that horse bit the dust. Oh, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. It was the greatest.
I kind of want to. So I think you answered my follow-up question. Like, look at the programs and understand them and bet the horses that have the best chance of winning, or do you just pick one that looks pretty or has a cool name?
Right. I mean, this was a special situation because, like I said, it was like 2 minutes to post. I had to get something done. I was itching to gamble.
I mean, other than just wait till the next race.
True, but there's like 5 minutes between races. So, I mean, I definitely, I know how to read a program and stuff like that, but I am not good enough at it to say that it influences my bet. No, I usually look at favorites, look at a little history, but that's about it, and just go with your gut. Yeah. I don't traditionally bet on names alone. This Five Sons situation was a different story.
Do you bet on horses every time in Vegas?
At some point, usually. Again, another way, if you're running out of cash, you can kill some time. Usually the armchairs that you sit in are all nice and comfy. It's a good way. Yeah. Good way to kill some time if you're a little low on cash.
That makes sense. The slot thing doesn't make sense to me because I blow through money in a second. But
yeah, they're tricky. Even penny slots. I mean, you get 50, 60, 70 lines worth a penny each. It goes quick.
What about video poker? You have to do video poker, right?
Yeah, I do video poker for sure.
That's more of a time killer for me.
It is. And especially if you're sitting up at a bar or something in the casino, they usually have the video pokers machines around the bar. That's handy. Just kind of people watching a little bit, having a drink, playing video poker. That's pretty nice.
So your favorite property is Caesars, but you've only stayed there once?
I've only stayed there once, yeah. Ellis Island really isn't on the Strip. I don't think it would count as Strip, but it's not that far off.
I'll allow it. Is that your favorite property?
It's just, it's got a homey feel to it that I just love. I have caught $5 tables there, middle of the day sort of stuff. You can see a $5 table there.
You'll always see it. The problem is getting on them.
Well,
they're always so packed, it seems like to me.
You just have to make your presence known.
Well, yeah, they probably have the big J spot reserved, right?
That's right. They should. No, I do like Ellis Island, even if it's not a true Strip property.
Do you walk there or do you Uber?
Yep, walk there. It's not that bad. Late at night, it's a bit sketch between...
I have never walked there at night. I'm not sure I would. But
yeah.
During the day, it's not bad.
They make their own beer over there. It's really good beer. I'm kind of a microbrew sort of guy, and that's fun. It's cheap beer. Walking home after a long afternoon. Cheap food, yeah. Walking home after quite a few homemade IPAs over there is usually not a good idea. Yeah, I should have been mugged on that walk.
Maybe you were, and you just don't remember it.
Also possible.
Maybe you hit a jackpot. You just had it all stolen.
That is highly possible.
Yeah,
highly possible.
Couldn't they make just like a really long overpass walk thing from there to Horseshoe or something?
Oh, what would be closest?
Horseshoe.
Probably, yeah.
I'm assuming that's where you go. You go from the back door of Horseshoe, right? Let's see, it'd be the north door.
Hold on.
Where the food court is.
We almost stayed. It was right close by, but then we found a better deal at Treasure Island. That trip that me and you were there together.
I have not stayed at TI yet, and that's one I need to.
It was very normal. I would call Treasure Island very normal.
I like Treasure Island though.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Nothing wrong with it. Anyway, least favorite for me, just based on this last trip, which, like I said, we took the kids and kind of hit all the big ones, but Excalibur really is the dirty castle now. It was
Really?
it was tough in there.
Ouch.
It was tough.
So I'm totally on board. It is a dump, but for nostalgia's sake, I still love it. So I
do too.
I can't put it as my least favorite.
No,
I
that's
still like
fair.
going there. Still like what little theming's left of it.
Yeah, it is. That would get Geoff all excited. The theming there. I mean,
It doesn't take much with Geoff to get him excited.
that is correct. It just seemed very much in disrepair. Like the escalators were out of order, and the moving walkways to get in from the front, where one of them worked and one didn't. And the second floor, where a lot of the restaurants are, there used to be a Krispy Kreme there a long time ago, right on
Yep.
at the top of the escalators. So good.
Schlotsky's is never open.
Yeah, a lot of places. It seemed like a lot of places were empty or kind of boarded up, and I don't know. It was sad because, like I said, the Excalibur, yeah, took my Vegas virginity way back in the early 2000s, and
Vegas virginity.
correct.
Emphasize that.
Correct. All right. So, but yeah, I get it. Nostalgia is worth something.
But you're still going least favorite is Excalibur, huh?
Truly based on this last trip. That is correct.
Okay. That's fair. What about downtown? Favorite, least favorite?
I am not qualified to answer favorite and least favorite down there. I've never stayed downtown.
I have not either.
That's next on my list, to be honest, but I didn't want to do it with kids.
That's probably wise.
But we go downtown one night every trip. I love it down there. I love the atmosphere, live music. You sometimes, or historically, the table men's were a little lower downtown. I don't know that that's the case anymore.
Yeah, they are.
But it, for me, and just not knowing the properties down there, they all kind of blend together. For me, I don't know where one starts and the next ends, so I'm not qualified to answer downtown.
When we filmed, which I still haven't got it on the website, but we filmed it for our website so we could do strip walking downtown.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot more what's inside those properties and how they're laid out. And it actually made me want to stay down there more.
Really?
Explore it a little bit more. So we probably
Sure.
will next time. But there's some, like, obviously the Golden Nugget's huge, and I hadn't really been in there much. And that pool area is pretty cool when you get back in there.
And I've never been deep inside any of the downtown properties. I tend to brush into the casinos off of Fremont Street, just 10 yards in or whatever, seeing what the craps tables look like.
Cirque even?
I don't even.
So you haven't seen the sports book? You got to see the sports book at Cirque.
No, I haven't.
The size of those screens.
Okay.
It's like 3 stories tall.
Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Next time.
Do you have an extra trip planned?
Nothing planned. No. Gonna take a buddy of mine for his birthday in November because I still had some credit card things going, but I never got that done. So
Jay's a bit of a credit card connoisseur.
Well, learn from the master, right? But
Exactly.
we did work the companion passes for Hawaii and a few others, and I should have slipped one more Vegas trip in, but never got it done.
I think my first one would probably be the D. That's what I've been looking at.
Okay.
It's not the highest end Derek Stevens property, but it's not the lowest either.
Okay.
Seems like the right mix of not too ghetto, but not too crazy expensive either.
Sure.
Good starter property.
Maybe so. And I'm not the credit card points master you are, but I definitely haven't hit the higher tier stuff yet.
Well, if you've listened to one of the, I don't remember which episode it was, I got in a bit of trouble with Four Queens in their app. So
oh yes,
that was really my only points hack for downtown, and that kind of burned that bridge.
I don't believe I'm allowed to say what I know about that situation.
That's probably the best for the best. The Win too. The Win is kind of, I didn't get in trouble with them, but they've closed their loopholes a little bit on their app. You used to be able to do completely free nights at the Win. That was nice. That was actually just before COVID, we stayed at the Win. That place is
Is that where you were that trip? I knew it was that
Yeah.
that end of the strip because we stayed at Treasure Island.
We were at the Wynn, and actually between myself and my wife, who was also playing the app, we had booked, I think we stayed 3 or 4 nights, and we both had completely free for us, and my dad came with
Wow.
us.
Wow.
So we had two rooms. And then I think my sister and brother-in-law also had been playing it, so they had free.
Sweet.
But they've since changed all the rules now, so you have to spend money in the app to really redeem any of the. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I knew you stayed down that end that trip because we were at Treasure Island, which is down there too.
Yeah.
And I remember sending you that picture because I'm like, I'm in Vegas. I'm gonna send Mike a pic and rub it in, and Mike's like, why are you sending me a picture of the hotel that I'm in? That's weird.
We're in Vegas at the same time, and we had no idea that until we texted each other that we were in Vegas at the same time.
That was pretty awesome.
Was that the time too that we had spotted you getting on the high roller in front of us or something?
Yes, I believe that's correct. I again was extremely intoxicated. I sense a theme of my stories, but you said you saw me. I believe you. I cannot verify. I know I was in that area at the time. I'm quite sure I had to be in the area at that time.
Have you and your wife unlocked the achievement on the high roller?
No.
You know, there's a high roller achievement, right?
I am aware. I have not made that achievement. No.
Have you and anybody else unlocked that achievement?
No. I'm sorry. I was more focused on because we got the drinking cart, so you pretty much have open bar till that baby gets all the way around, and you got to hit it.
I've been on that thing like 4 or 5 times. I have never done the drinking car, and you know why? I am terrified that I'll get 5 minutes in and just have to pee like a motherfucker.
Yeah, and you know my history in that department too. I'm not real good at it, but you just got to suck it up. You just gotta power through.
So when does it start hitting you? Like halfway in, 3/4 of the way in? Do you make it all the way around?
Me personally,
yeah,
it's on the upswing for sure. And then you're just it's mind over matter at that point. Because there is literally nothing you can do. Like you can't get off. You can't parachute out.
I mean, you could pee in a corner.
Yeah, but they're kind of round cars. There's really no corner if you think about it. I don't want to get into geometry here, but
like if you would ask one of those bartenders, how many times a week or a month does somebody pee in the car?
I bet
it's more than 0, right?
I bet it's more than they can count on one hand. Yeah, for sure. Yes, it has to happen.
Yes,
because there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Right.
On the drinking carts, they have a little trash can, and maybe you could make that work. But on the non-drinking carts, there's nothing. It's like there's just nothing in there. It's super open.
Right.
There's no way you could do it there. So you do it if you're doing the non-drinking cart. You can plan ahead a bit.
But if you're on the non-drinking cart, you're not drinking, so it's generally not as big a problem.
You were before you got there. Right?
But then you pee. There's restrooms right before you get on.
And you can plan ahead a bit. Exactly. And the line for the non-drinking cart is much, much shorter, moves much, much faster. The line for the drinking cart, you usually have to wait in line for quite a while because I suppose everybody wants that. So you have line time plus boarding time plus I
don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it.
It's part. There should be an achievement for that.
I'm too old at this point too. That's working against me.
Yeah, it really is. You and me both. The high roller is worth the time though.
That is actually a more impressive achievement though than having sex.
Yeah,
on it.
That is correct. Yeah,
because once you're on it, there's cameras and everything, but what are they going to do about it until you get off?
Exactly.
They can ban you.
So what?
It's done at that point.
Exactly. Achievement achieved. I don't need to come back if you ban me. I don't care. Achievement complete.
And really, how are they going to ban you? Just have somebody else buy your tickets.
They don't look that close.
They probably see that once or twice a day also.
Yeah. The security guys have a tape of their own for keeping.
You might make it on a YouTube channel or
Correct. Yeah.
OnlyFans or something. If you could change one thing about Vegas, what would it be?
This is going to be the cheapskate in me, but it's the cost. It's the cost. And yeah, I know you taught me a lot about working some of the point stuff and deals, but it's just not what it used to be. It's just not. Yeah. And I think that's going to really hurt Vegas long term. Like, I think Geoff mentioned in a previous episode, but with lots more states legalizing gambling, it's just easier nowadays. I think they're going to have to change that.
They'll always have the celebrities, the high rollers.
Sure.
It's going to be the little guys like us that don't come.
Right.
Because we can go to the casino 30 minutes down the road that Geoff works at and harass Geoff and play craps. But it's definitely not what it used to be. It's totally, the buffets aren't cheap.
Right.
They're expensive.
Right, yeah.
And they are way overrated, in my opinion. I don't understand just having a shit ton of options. The food isn't that good, I don't think.
It's not.
We went to the Wynn buffet, which is supposed to be one of the best same trip. I just wasn't that impressed.
Yeah. On the trip with the kids, we didn't even go to one. And that's like one of the things you're supposed to do in Vegas, right? Or in the old days it was.
Yeah.
We didn't even do it.
No, it's all about celebrity chefs and foodies and which is fine.
Yeah, sure.
It's still fun too, except for the price.
There's room for both of that in Vegas.
Have you seen or met any celebrities?
The best I got there, and it's tough, I swear I saw Carrot Top in the airport once. That's it. That's all I got.
It's pretty recognizable.
Yes. Yeah, it was either him or a Carrot Top lookalike, and I'm fearful that those people exist.
Have you been to his show?
No, I have not.
Got kind of it's not that great of a story, but we got free tickets on the My Vegas app, my wife and I. They were awful seats in the very corner of the theater, so you could see like half the stage. And we're sitting there before the show, and this usher comes up and is like, "Come with me." And he sits us down dead center on the main aisle, right in the middle of everything. Perfect seats. And then at the end of this, or towards the end, he goes around and hands a couple people shots, and you take a shot with him. And I was one of the people that got to take a shot with him.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so
not bad.
Not that
at
exciting
all.
of a story, but
not bad at all.
It wasn't. It was a pretty good show. It's a little dated, but we're seeing. It's better than Caw.
I have been to Caw.
Have you?
Yes.
What'd you think of it?
The stage design, the set, unbelievable.
Yes.
The story of it all, meh.
I fell asleep. Not even lying, I fell asleep. It was a late show.
If you want to see an amazing set, stage design, and the workings of all that, unbelievable.
It was very interesting for 15-20 minutes.
Were you asleep during the part where the stage goes vertical and they're like shooting arrows and climbing up? Yeah, that was the best part.
I really remember very little about the show, other than the stage moves.
Right.
Details, I've got virtually none.
There's fire sometimes. You'd think that'd woke you up.
You'd think, wouldn't you? But O's good. I've seen O.
Yeah, it really is. The set there, the stage is amazing as well. I mean,
the Beatles one I've seen a couple times, which is actually closing now.
Gotcha. I did not know
in
that.
July, I believe. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Probably better go see it in June then, huh?
Probably better.
That's a good show. If you like Beatles music, that's kind of a prerequisite. But what's your best Vegas story?
I already told you the Five Sons horse story. That was a pretty
good
memorable.
But since you did not tell it during the right question, we cannot accept that as your best Vegas story.
That's fair. I think I have a lot of little ones. I don't know that I have a big one, but
like I told Geoff, just tell a couple little ones. That makes one.
Well, I mentioned earlier we'd done the zip lines downtown, right?
Mm-hmm.
For those that don't know me, I'm a larger guy, so
not any larger than Geoff or I.
I pick up a little speed on the zip line, if you know what I mean. And we were doing the long one, the one that goes clear down Fremont Street. And as I was cooking into the end of the line, and there's brakes there and they slow you down and stuff. And there's a dude there that catches you. The look in his eye when he saw me heading that way, because they weigh you before and there's a weight limit and they round down a little bit, or they're not as picky as probably they should be. But I was at the top end of that weight limit. His eyes were as big as saucers with me heading in.
Did you knock him over?
We both kind of became one and swung up into the air as we hit the end of the line. Yeah. He just drew the short straw that night and got to catch the line that I was on.
I'm sure he's caught plenty.
I'm sure, but it was, I will never forget how big his eyes were as I was sailing in there. That was pretty good. I mean, I have some miscellaneous gambling ones, like we got at a blackjack table. I think it was at Tropicana, maybe. I don't know. But middle of the day, super slow, sat down next to this old lady, but she was a blast. And we were getting free drinks regularly. That was a very memorable time. Every time she would want a tin or a face card, she would yell, "Picture," really loud, "Picture." And it was just me, my buddy, and this older gal at the table. So it's little stuff like that, not something you would ever write home about, but just the coolness in little pockets of fun like that I love. Yeah. I did get stuck in Vegas once. It was my wife and I. We had small children then, and we'd been there a week. They were very small. First time we'd really been away from the kids, and they overbooked.
You didn't take them?
No, we did not take them, but they overbooked the flight home, and she was just distraught. Couldn't bear to be away from the children anymore. Turns out they had one seat left. Honey, I will take one for the team. You can get on the plane, get home to the kids. I'll stay here to catch the next flight tomorrow.
Man, you are such a gentleman.
I am. I was. Took my suitcase back to the bellhop and never looked back.
Where were you staying?
I didn't stay anywhere that night except at, I think, one poker room. And
you didn't actually book another room?
No, hell no. No way. No way. Nope. I checked my baggage in at the bellhop and told them I had plane delays. If I could leave it there, they said no problem, and picked it up when my plane left the next day.
That COVID trip, the day we were scheduled to leave, our flight got canceled pretty quick, but it wasn't because of COVID. It was high wind or something like that.
Gotcha.
So we ended up adding another night. That's the only night I've spent at Caesar's Palace. We went down to hopped on, and they had, at that point, I think a lot of places had pretty cheap rooms. We ended up, the day we were flying back, I think was the day that the basketball player came down with COVID, and everybody just started shutting everything down.
Right.
So if we had been one day later, we might have been stranded somewhere. But
yeah, you and I were both really close to that. And nobody, there was so much misinformation back then. Nobody really even knew what to think. And we were at Treasure Island that trip, and on the news, a gal in the property next door, I think they had tested positive, and I don't know, it nobody knew even what that meant at that point. And looking back, it seems so dumb, but yeah, it was real, that trip. It was crazy.
That trip we went to Love too, because that was when my dad went with me. And
yeah, your sister was there.
He's a huge Beatles fan, so
yeah,
I don't remember if they were starting to control or limit the crowds, or if they just didn't sell very many tickets.
Gotcha.
Because we booked something way up in the nosebleeds, and then they came and moved us down to the best seats in the house.
Nice.
Which was cool. But there wasn't very many people in the theater either. It was very weird. And then Geoff and I went back in July or August.
Really? That same year?
Yeah. Which was another weird experience.
I bet it was.
That was just basically the hardcore gamblers that couldn't stay away. There was no shows or anything.
Sure,
just
sure.
you were there
Just-
to gamble
Just the
24/7.
regulars.
So, have you had any casino security run-ins?
Yeah, the only brush that I've had with that, again, was in Kansas City, but it was at the Ameristar in Kansas City. Again, extremely intoxicated and never did get in. I had no business gambling, so I'm really happy they didn't let me in.
So you did get in and then was asked to leave, or you didn't get in?
I did not get in because I guess their rule, or maybe they just told me their rule, was to have a player's card, and I could not make my brain work enough to get that done. I don't know that
Sounds
that's
like
really the
bullshit.
rule.
Yeah.
I think they just made that rule up when they saw me. I tried a few times, but did not get it done, and they eventually asked me to leave, which nothing violent.
You didn't get 86th?
Geoff would say I got 86th. Yeah, but not for cheating or anything, just for not needing to be there.
Have you been to Geoff's casino yet?
I have not.
Yes, we need to go.
We
I haven't
should.
either.
Yeah, like Geoff has mentioned a couple times, they're really still kind of getting it all figured out. But I think it's to the point it deserves our inspection.
It is the only live craps in the state.
That's correct.
So that seems worthy of our attention.
That's correct. Yep, you can go just over the state line in a couple spots and get some, but that's right.
Yeah, well, that's Iowa.
You're right.
Well, we won't talk about Iowa.
No.
Now we know your Vegas profile, Jay.
Yeah.
Big J,
I
little
appreciate.
J, Jammin' J.
I appreciate the questionnaire. I feel honored.
You have also built several of your own craps tables, correct?
Yeah, 2 of them to be exact. One portable, which I've since sold, and now I have one in the basement here. It's kind of a single dealer sort of setup. But yeah, craps player's dream is to be the house, and I'm the house.
You sold the coffee table one?
I did sell the coffee table one. Yeah,
I guess nobody told me that it was for sale.
That's true. I should have. That's rude of me. It was unwieldy to store when it was not in use. My wife said maybe we should find a different home, and it has moved on to a better place.
Can I ask roughly how much a coffee table craps table fetches on the open market?
I was happy that they picked it up on time for $30.
Really? I would have fucking took it for $30.
Dude, that thing was 20 years old. It had mostly spider webs holding it together. And it was a hand-painted felt, though. I painted it myself. Yes. Custom. Very custom.
So that was before you could just go on Amazon and buy a felt, right?
Right. That's correct. Yep. Nope. They didn't sell that kind of thing back then. No way. This was hand-painted. I remember working a long time getting the padding underneath the felt right so that the dice would bounce right. It was still probably a little too bouncy, but that always bugged me. But yeah, we played a lot of craps on that.
Nobody other than you would know that was playing on that table.
True. That craps table was responsible for the police coming to my home many times for loud noises and things like that. It was fun.
Did they bust you for illegal gambling?
No. They looked pretty hard at what we were doing, but pretty much just told us to quiet down and move on. So
how would they actually bust you for that, though?
For gambling?
Wouldn't they have to have an undercover gambling?
Yeah, you would think so, to make sure you're really taking money from people. I don't know. The rules are fuzzy there.
Yeah. You never actually take money from people, right?
That is correct.
That's the right answer.
That's the right answer. Correct.
Yeah.
We never got too serious in the money department.
Because I know an actual craps dealer.
True.
If you want to give me a cut, we could maybe
set up a deal.
So the table you have now is full size?
It's like a half dealer. 6.5.
Oh,
six and a half feet probably. Yeah, it's kind of a single dealer setup, like half a table would be,
Can it be broken down?
So I really built it such that I have a table where it is mostly like a work table sort of thing, and the sides just bolt on. The felt rolls out, sides bolt on. So it's kind of dual purpose table.
We'll put some pictures on the episode website of it.
Yeah, we should. We should do that. It's perfect for a home table. You know, you can easily play 6-8 people on it if you're friendly. You know, it's probably more comfortable with 5, but
What if you're not friendly?
you can get it. Depends on how much you want to play craps, I guess.
What if the sight of Geoff winning on field bets just pisses me off?
We can talk about the field bet. Statistically, it's not the worst bet in the casino, but not one that I play often either.
What's your general craps betting strategy?
General craps, I'm definitely a pass line odds sort of guy. 6-8, places 6 and 8. If I'm my wife's a come better, she bets come line all the time, which isn't the worst strategy either, especially if you place odds with.
So sometimes if I'm getting bored or getting my ass kicked, I'll do, is it 3-point molly, which is basically that.
Yeah.
You get your point, then you do like 2 or 3 more come bets until you end up with 3 or 4 points up there and 7 out and lose your shirt.
That's correct. That's usually how it works.
Good times.
Good times, yeah. I keep it pretty basic pass line place bets. You know, I'll throw a hard way out there or something, which statistically is not a very good bet, but it's fun. And then, just start pressing those place bets, keep the odds loaded up. Statistically, the house has no advantage on the odds behind a pass line bet or come bet. So that's definitely try to maximize that. So nothing too fancy, but it's the thrill of the game. That's the best. That's the best part.
Like on an electronic table, I'll usually get a little more crazy than most people, I think.
Sure.
That way.
And that's a good tip for beginners, I think. And if we want to talk more craps strategy, we can. But the craps table is scary for beginners. You know, it's loud, it's crazy. People are yelling and screaming. It's tough to walk up to. You know, it's got 3 dealers there. Holy moly, what are 3 people watching me for? But bubble craps, which is kind of video craps, is a perfect place to start and learn.
Unfortunately, the hybrid ones, the what are they, roll to win ones, kind of died because of those guys cheating. But those were kind of my favorite non-real ones, just because you still got to roll the real dice.
But that's where you bet on the screen, but then roll the real dice.
Right. Yep.
Yep. I only played on one of those maybe once or twice. Not in Vegas though. Even it was more local here. I never got the hang of it. The bounce on the table seemed different.
We called it sticky craps just because I don't know if it's a plexiglass or something on that covered the video screen. Right. It just seemed to grab the dice.
Yeah, that's a perfect word for it. That's how I would it grabbed. They didn't roll right. They didn't roll the same. Yeah. I like that term. That describes it perfectly.
But they are pretty much died out. They still have the other kind of hybrid one where they have the stadium terminals around like a little mini craps thing.
Right.
Those can be kind of fun too, but it's
for
just not the same. It's not the same
no,
standing around.
It's not. But for a beginner, it is a great place to start to kind of take that beginner's fear away because it's scary.
Or if you're looking for a lower minimum.
Correct.
Those usually have $5 minimums.
That is a very good point. Yes, very good point. And they can get. Well, I'm thinking of the bubble ones, I guess, where this kind of has 2 dice in the middle in the bubble, right?
Those are the classic ones,
right? You can get 5, 6 people on those. Sometimes they can still get exciting because you're still betting with them. You know, the dice, whose roll it is, will kind of rotate around. So
definitely.
It's communal in a way, not the same totally, but if you have a fun group there, it can be fun.
And that hybrid stadium one, we had Geoff and my cousin JC and I had one time had a great communal one going where this guy he had the point was 4 several times in his roll, and he actually hit several points and made everybody a lot of money. But he would get the point set, and it was a 4, and he'd be going deuce, deuce, and then he would take a lap around the whole thing, slapping everybody's hand and yelling deuce, deuce, and getting everybody to chant with him. And it was
That's
pretty
awesome.
fun.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
it could still happen. It just doesn't happen as much.
Right. Agreed. And there's, I guess while we're on the topic, there's a couple, iPhone apps at least. I don't know if they're on Android, but that I've used. One's called Craps Lite. That's very realistic. You're not betting real money, but for practicing, for testing strategies, there's some apps out there too. That's also another great place to start.
Or your basement.
That is correct. If you live close, we can figure that out.
Which is where I started. I don't know why Geoff gets credit for you really.
I don't either. Yeah.
And I remember when you first got into it, were we still roommates at that point?
No, probably not. Because I remember building that craps table in a different apartment.
And you tried to get me into it at that point, and I just couldn't unfollow it. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. I mean, all the different bets, it's tough to get into. And I probably, I know I didn't know anything back then, but I had taken a trip to Kansas City. It was at the Argosy Casino in Kansas City that I first played craps, and I got hooked. I had a total case of beginner's luck, and I made big time bank that night.
Yeah.
And I was hooked ever since.
The first 2 sessions I had, both were winning sessions. And that does not.
That seals the deal.
Yeah.
Right there. That's all it takes to love craps is winning big a few times.
And no offense, you're playing in your basement's great, but actually playing play on a real table, that's when you really. That's correct. Hooked.
I get more free drinks in my basement, though.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah. Although your wife yells at me more.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
My wife yells at me. I mean, I don't yell at you.
Your wife yells at me and you.
Right. Well.
Due to time constraints and also the fact that everyone still listening to this podcast is probably asleep, we will continue Mike and Jay's chat in part 2 of this episode. Please stay tuned for a message from Taylor Swift.
Hi, this is Taylor Swift. Isn't Strip Talking the most interesting, funny, insightful, brilliant, and fresh podcast you have ever heard? Mike and Geoff are so cute and sexy. Please help them out and subscribe to the podcast. Give them a 5-star rating, and leave them a glowing review saying you would rather listen to their podcast than attend one of my concerts. I just can't get enough of these guys.
Well, we want to thank you for listening to this podcast today. Thank you to Jay for being on and sharing his wealth of craps knowledge and Vegas knowledge with us. Check us out on stripwalking.com. We're on social media, all of the major social media platforms. We are at Stripwalking. I want to thank everybody again for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation, and thanks for listening, everyone. May all your sevens show on the come out roll.